Ladies and gentlemen, okay, we'll be live in 7 seconds. Oh, we're live already. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. I'm excited to have you here. With us on stage is James. James, thank you very much for being here. How is the weather over there in Kenya?
Whoa, whoa. It's rainy season actually. Kind of warm at the moment. That's why I'm not really heavily dressed. So excited. It's 4 p.m. So almost the end of my day. And yeah, how are you? And how is everyone?
Fine.
They
On this,
all good?
yeah, on this side,
Mm,
basically, it's fine. It's fine. It's just
mhm,
a little over 8 a.m. here on this side.
mhm,
And
mhm,
the weather is not bad as well. We're most importantly, we're super excited to have you here. We have the audience
mhm,
coming in already. They are joining in from different locations, from StreamYard, from LinkedIn, and from Facebook.
mhm,
They are watching from
mhm,
all of these locations. So, James,
mhm.
thank you very much for being here. We'd like to start with getting to know you. Tell us a little about you, and let's start from there before we delve into the other questions.
Okay. Thank you, Rachel, and thank you everyone who's joining us, wherever you are. Um, well, it feels different being on the other side of of the conversation where you ask about yourself. But generally, yeah, I'll talk about myself. My name is James Makau. I'm currently in Nairobi, Kenya. I'm a recruiter, global recruiter, with a focus of general recruitment, of course, and technical recruitment. But I've been liking technical recruitment more. So currently working with a company called Fuzu. Been with Fuzu for about 4 years, in recruitment for about 5, 6 years or so, and really learned a lot. Of course, still learning more, and excited to, always interact with new people every day and more different areas of the world, of course, globe cultures, different cultures. So those are some of the things that excite me as a recruiter and a technical recruiter per se.
Amazing.
I think,
So, James,
yeah.
thank you very much. Sharing that, thank you very much. Sharing that information is really very helpful to the audience at this point. And we'd like to know a little more about this role. So, we understand that you are looking for a senior full stack engineer. And we'd like you to tell
Hmm.
us a little about the role.
Hmm. Interesting. Thank you, Russell. And maybe as I talk about the role, I'll build the conversation on the company. So I'll start talking briefly about the company. And then, with that, we can reference some of the things they're looking to where they are as a company and maybe what they're looking to achieve. I understand most of you probably had gone through the JD, which had been posted. But yeah, sorry.
No, I'm so sorry. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Okay. So the company looking to hire is a fintech company, and what they're looking to achieve is, well, in terms. Let me talk about their business. So they are a fintech company focused on not directly giving credit to consumers, but majorly partnering with, credit giving companies. Can be banks, can be, credit fintechs, um, can be, microfinances. In providing them with real-time data of borrowers, and of course managing that and helping them, in kind of way, being able to rank borrowers and, of course, and at the same time help borrowers or educate borrowers on which institutions they can borrow, or which institution as well they can they can find soft loans and stuff like that. But again, showing real-time data in terms of credit scoring, and that, helps. That's helping both the B2C and B2B side of business. So in terms of foundation, they're still agile, very young, founded in around 2020, still growing. And, their main offices are in Kenya, but with a global team. And now expanding to Nigeria. That's the focus of us hiring Nigeria. So for this role, briefly, one of the things they are looking, being a startup, very agile in their early stage, they're looking for, what we refer as plug and play. A senior full stack developer per se, both skilled in, back end and front end. For the back end, we're looking at Node.js as the main skill set. We're looking front end JavaScript, React.js per se, and of course some um, you know, DevOps experience, someone who understands CI, CD, continuous improvement, continuous development when it comes to products. So that's type of that's basically what we're looking at. But some of the other things that are very key for this role is years of experience, and of course backgrounds in terms of industry backgrounds and where you've worked. um, what we're looking at, is someone, besides being senior developer, have you been an independent developer where you not relying much to be, trained to produce a product, or uh, you've reached somewhere in your career where you're able to push product end to end, push a project end to end, lead a project. Kind of that's the type of person I'm looking at. On when it comes to tech, and developers, engineers, we know there are three levels, or three, four levels. There's a junior, there's a mid, there's a senior, and maybe there's a manager and the CTO per se. For this role, we're looking for an individual contributor who is a senior developer, at least, per se, 5 to 7 years of experience and more. Minimally, we could always say 5, because that's an expert. If we took with like 1 to 2 years as a junior, 3 to 4 probably a mid, 5 and above to around 7. At least we can say you're a senior. But yes, so those are some of the backgrounds of the person we're looking at. And at least I've worked in the startup space, because it's important. If you come in directly from a corporate where things are very structured, you understand it's totally different to work in somewhere like a startup where things are being built from scratch. Remember, they're still agile, pushing the MVP at the moment. And with that level, with where they are right now, having someone who can come in and, fit in and understand, there are no much of the structures, of course, and can fit in and try to help or improve the company. So those are some of the elements we're looking at. I talked about that in terms of the JD, and of course the candidate we're looking at for that position. So one of the things we're looking at, of course, other things we're looking at, of course, is kind of a balance between back end and front end. You might find someone has been working as a back end engineer for 5 years and just done like half a year or a year in front end. So they seem to be very good in back end. And let's say if they've been doing Node.js per se, that's very fine. But we're looking for a well-rounded. I mean, something might be missing, and it may be disadvantage for you. Yes, you can do well in that. And remember, we're looking at plug and play, so may be a disadvantage if you don't kind of balance this for balance that. So I think briefly that's the type of person I'm looking. That's the brief about the company. In terms of reporting, yeah, this person would be reporting to, they just hired, the company just hired an engineering manager. Before, the person would be reporting to the CTO. So right now they'll be reporting to the engineering manager. Then there's also a CTO then there's a CEO. That's what looks like the reporting structure. They currently don't have junior developers, so they only have senior developers per se due to where they are, and that means you'd work alongside senior developers and engineering manager, of course, and CTO on this position. So that's the brief. I don't know if there are any question, Sel, as well.
Beautiful. So we kind of captured what you shared. We talked about the technology they are looking for, front end, back end. They need
Mm,
a senior guy for this role. And
mhm,
let's talk a little about the culture, of
mhm.
these folks. What would you be able to share about their culture?
Okay, okay. So one of the very things that's key for them is, albeit one of the cultures built from what they're looking at the moment is independent contributors. So um, they are looking for someone, their culture is built on taking and executing, someone who can take responsibility. They are multicultural, distributed across different countries. So, you know, they have a physical office, but most of the time, no one is always in the office. So, are you that type of person who doesn't need, the manager to always be in chess? So that's one of the cultures. Of course, the other part of it is they have a strong belief in human, and um, they believe anyone can make a change, and that's why in their hiring process they're looking for someone who is self-driven, and that's one of the questions. Are you agile enough? Are you able to take initiatives? That type of person. The other one is um, they give opportunities for growth, and they're looking for people, or their culture is built on learning and unlearning, of course, and especially with where they are. When I talk about learning and unlearning, is things can change rapidly with this level of startup. I know that's already been in the startup space for a while, and things move fast, things change, and they need someone who can adapt quickly, easily, and can change when things change, of course. So that's partly a few of the things, and in terms of their cultures, in terms of their culture, yeah, I think that's it. You're on mute.
I said, I'm sorry, amazing. I was saying that a lot of people are actually asking questions on the chat. For
Mm.
example, Oluwafemi is asking, if that's his question, if you have 5+ years experience in other languages.
Such as PHP and JavaScript, CSS, etc., and about 2 years in React and Node.js. Okay, that's a very definite good question, and I'll give a history of their hiring, of course, and especially we just hired one senior developer. We're still looking for 2 to 3 more. Um, they're really, I know the likes of PHP, C++, these are, kind of the old stacks. They are more focused on JS. And if you can strike a balance on having maybe React and Node.js more to be like 5 years, that would be fair enough. But if you skills in PHP and JavaScript, kind of the experience is more than what you have in React and Node, it may be a disadvantage for you for now.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's it. And then, folks, if you have additional questions, please leave your questions on the chat. I see Taiwo Ogunola asking, where he can ask questions. So please just drop your questions on the chat, and we're going to highlight it on the screen. And then the recruiter is going to be able to respond. So, and then another question I have for you is, oh, before that, Taiwo has a question of his own.
I would say AWS, of course. That's what they're using.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you. And so we've talked about the the role. We've looked at the role. We've talked about the company culture. We've talked about the technology they are looking for, which is full stack, Node.js, and really. Now, one of the questions I wanted to ask was about salary expectation. Of course, money is a very important question. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, one of the very things I don't want to give, kind of uh, extreme expectation, but they are really not close in a gap. But I'll give a range of the last 2 to 3 developers that they've hired in terms of salaries, and I'm sure that would range within even global market. So they're paying on the range of in dollars. That's around 3,500 to around 5,500 in USD. And that, of course, comes with you know someone's experience. They also give other benefits like internet, medical cover. It doesn't matter where you are; those are provided. And of course, annual annual holiday of 5 days in a year, and that's provided, of course, and they respect all local holidays. Those are some of the benefits, and other things like if you're interested in buying, companies, what they're called investment. They also offering that option. If you want stacks, they can give that. Remember, they are very early in their early stage. Right now, they are well funded. I wouldn't give a credit to joining in the first year. You're not working, so they're kind of at the moment very well funded. So that's some of the salary and you know some of the benefits that you expect.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Now, we talked about all of these things. I want to, with the remaining time that we have left, I wanted to talk a little about the technical assessments, which I know is a component of this process. Tell us a little about,
Okay.
the technical assessments.
Uh, Great. So as I head to technical assessment, I'll briefly talk about allow me to talk about maybe what the recruiter, myself and the team would look on the CV immediately it's shared, and probably what would make you go ahead, to make it either to phone screen or the technical testing. Um, so on the JD, there's a mention of individual contributor. There's a mention of someone who's run projects, someone who's able to do or lead or train. Of course, some of the things we really would look like. Of course, there can be the titles you've had, maybe a senior software developer. We look at and do a quick research, and this normally happens on the companies you've worked for. What are some of the stats they use? You've shared your projects on that, so our tech team may really rush in to look at this project you've done as well. Then finally, how some the important part will be actually more on the project you've done and the responsibilities you've held, and if you've mentioned each project or the areas you've worked, which stacks you've used. So it's important for us to look at that before deciding, yes, let's give you a call, or you know let's move forward. There's some what I like to tell someone is always be honest, put it out there. If you're a senior developer and you're already at 4 years, it's fine. I mean, if you're a senior developer and you have 4 years of experience, it's fine. Some people I understand naturally are sharp and they really can achieve a lot at at their at the early stages of their career, and that's considered. At the end of the day, we are hiring skill again. Years of experience is important, but the skill is more important, of course. And so I wouldn't say even someone who is, with low experience and probably they've done more, would block them out. If you already showing the signs of, someone who has done much, executed on very unique projects, led on very led and launched different products across different markets, all local markets. That's very fine, and we can always give a chart depending. So it's fair again to articulate, your your experience very well on the CV. But what matters more is just show the projects what you've done. Of course, use some words, fairly words, like spearheaded, or, revised, a few things like research and build. Some of those words are showing, you know, independent your independence when it comes to doing work. That's very helpful in spreading CVs, rather than just saying I supported. So again, if it's senior developer, I expect to see some of those things. And now jumping to the area of technical testing, um, I was talking to Razak before the call, and I've had a few candidates fail on the Node.js. So we have three tests, and I'll be happy even to share them. So we have three tests. One is on Node.js, and the other one is on JavaScript. You're finding a lot of people on the JavaScript, we're giving it hard because JavaScript is like a fundamental, um, stack that most people are able to handle. Then for the second test, we've given an option for someone to use, they're even most comfortable stack, to solve that. And the final one on JS, we've given a medium, but you're finding most of guys are failing on the tests. Well, I wouldn't say that I'm an engineer, so I can't give how I can give definition to where they're failing while writing the strings. Uh, but I'll be able to share the question and how it looks, of course, and probably for you guys can think around it. So I won't be able to give you know the three questions, but I'm going to give the Node.js question, and for you to understand what type of question we're giving. So I think I have rights to share my screen, right?
Yes, you do.
Okay. So for our technical testing, majorly posts phone screen and agreement on areas of your experience and everything. And of course, salary, we head to technical testing, which posts that now you head to technical testing, either with the hiring manager, who is the engineering manager, or CTO, CPO, chief product officer. And so this is the type of question you may find. So let me share my screen. Hi guys. So can you see my screen?
Yes, I
Okay.
can. There you go.
Okay. Yes. So this is a type of question you would expect. So Codabyte is a technical testing platform that combines or allows recruiters or technical hiring managers to come up with questions. The questions are already prepared. One can curate their own, or the platform can share questions with you. So this is actually platform generated, and this platform allows you, and give you a time, to solve a test. So, and this is the type of question that you get. It's a Node.js question, right? And they give you a problem there. Then say they give you an example, they code file content, example, not code. And and with that, we expect you, of course, to be able to write the code, run it. There's usually given ample time, like this question you have around 30 minutes, 30, 40 minutes. So you have ample time to do. One of the things that the platform may detect is someone who contests their code, because that's your type of functionality, and it is for we're looking for someone who are very independent and application. Again, we're looking at someone who is able to the project. So that's been totally been
James, yeah, James,
yes.
your audio is too off. I don't know. I'm struggling to hear you.
Is it too off or there's some background noises?
Some background noise, yes.
Okay. It's really let me
Yeah,
try
it's
and
kind
see
of
if I can
muffled.
change my allow me for a minute to change just a second.
All right,
It's
then, no
raining.
problem.
I hope it's actually close to the balcony. That's why.
All right, no problem.
So okay, let me see.
Okay, I think your audio is
Is
becoming
this better?
clearer. Yes, it is better.
Is this better? Yeah. Okay. Nice. So yeah, I was sharing this, and I mean, what I'm trying to say, that's the type of question you would expect, and we'll have ample time to do. But I always advise candidates in terms of when it comes to this call, take your time. Yeah, the platform will detect when you leave the tab, but you know, it's not an issue to research because one of the things that require some of this competition, you're able to research and of course rank code. What's really not allowed is parties, copy pasting the code. I know information, the ChatGPT and everything, you are able to find it for them, right? But we're looking at you. You can go in the tab, touch down where to go. But, what number to allow is students as the person down the champion. So that's possibly about some of the questions, but steps for this position. I don't know if you guys have any question or about
Yes. So the remaining part if of the conversation, we heard you, but then the voice was a little muffled. So can you just kind
Okay.
of, yeah, the last part of what you said?
Okay. Generally, for that question, and probably I'm sure most people were able to see it. Apologies for whether there's a sales center. Taiwo. Okay. What about now? Taiwo? I don't know. Is this better?
Yes, it is better now. Yes.
Okay. All right. That's fine then. Apologies for that, guys. So I think, well, I hope everyone was able to read the question. And once you're given that question, what I kind of ask someone is take your time, read the question. The platform. You have around 40 minutes to tackle it. So read the question, take your time. You can leave the tab, go do a research. If you like or you find it that much very challenging. Even on the second conversation, when you head to the next conversation, the engineers will allow you to do the research. What they may not allow you is to copy paste to run a code. They need you to, you have done your research because normally, on a good working day, on normal day, what you usually do is, there's a challenge, there's a product, there's a code you're trying to do. Most of the time, you go online, try to do a few research. That's fine. That's allowed.
But copy pasting and trying to put it on the platform and run it, that will reduce you max, and probably you will not be able to make it to the count. So for anyone scoring about 7%, they're going into the technical conversation. So I think that was some of my last words. I don't know if there's a question around that.
Beautiful. So just to make sure that these guys got everything, what some of the things you shared was Node.js right string is one of the questions or one of the areas that people fail the most in the technical assessment. And then you shared
Yeah,
with them technical assessment, what a technical assessment looks like. You are informing them that they might be able to step out during the assessment briefly to go do some research and come back. And what you
yeah,
are telling them also is the moment they step out of the assessment screen, the software is going to capture that they have left their tab. It is okay as long as they come back within a very short period of time.
yeah.
Correct?
Very true.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So for the audience, for the sake of the audience, we've broken down the steps. You are going to be looking at the resume. You and your team will be looking at the resume. You are looking for 4 years, 5 years technical experience. Then those individuals will be contacted where you give them a phone screen. After the phone
Yeah,
screen, to have that conversation, to fill those individuals out, you proceed. After the phone screen, if you guys you move them to the technical assessment phase, where they do a technical assessment and you are testing them on three core areas, including Node.js. And then on these areas, if those individuals pass, what typically happens after that technical assessment?
Uh, good, good. After that technical testing from our end, now you're introduced to the hiring team. This team will now tell you about, much of the development of the company in terms of projects, in terms of, their products, where they are. You now have an internal visibility about, what they are doing. Now hearing much from them, and you can ask any question at that time. But again, with that introduction, there will also be a technical conversation. This probably you will have the engineering manager or CTO taking it up, depending on who is available. So that conversation will go around them, going through the projects you've done. They will already have this report on how you're able to write your code. If they have any question, and they can do this call may be up to around 1 hour sometimes. They may give you what we call pair programming, like type of testing, where they give you a test to see as well how you're able to think, how your thinking structure, how you're able to break down a problem and solve it. Of course, they will also ask a few questions regarding your previous projects, kind of wanting information on what we've on our recommendation. Remember, at the end of the day, I'll recommend you, but more likely this is the employer, and they may also ask a few questions based on what I recommended you on. Then finally, of course, a few behavioral questions like how you're able to work in a team, and that's more tied to see whether you may be a fit for their culture. So those are some of the things you'd expect. Then post that, you will have another interview either with the CPO, that's Chief Product Officer, and head of data. These people are part of the technical team, and they may just have questions around how you work, collaboration as well, how you've worked with those teams before, and just wanting to see how best you can fit within them. So that's a second part of session. Then finally you may have a conversation with the CEO. CEO is just coming there to see how well you align with the company future culture as well, how best you can be for the team. More maybe it may not really uh, reject you, but it's also important to give that perception you are a long-term member who can be relied on while speaking to the CEO. because most of the technical part has already been met, or you passed with the either engineering manager stroke CTO, second interview with either with CPO and head of data. And for him is getting just affirmation, like who you are, of course, that type of conversation, and how best you can fit in the team. Then that's finally, and then they will come the people's team. They may not do much of the cultural conversation, but they'll talk about salary, contracts, and how best you can work with them. So that's how the interviewing process is.
Amazing. And how long does this take typically from your experience?
So this can take actually 2 to 3 weeks. I understand them; they are quite fast with interviewing. But for the sake of even agreeing on the contract and everything, so we look around 2 to 4 weeks. So let's give it roughly a month. But they really interview faster. And that's one of the good things with them, especially on the tech side. They really prioritize recruitment, and the focus is to give good experience. So yes.
Hmm. Amazing. So for thank you very much. So for those of you who joined, this is James. He is the recruiter for the senior full stack engineer position now they're hiring for. And he shared a lot of information already about the technology that is being used. They use AWS for their cloud technology. He talked extensively about the organization. The culture is warm. They are a startup originally based in Kenya, but are expanding to Nigeria. And they are looking to hire between 2 to 3 engineers, senior engineers in Nigeria. And then he walked us through some of the things like the pre-screening, what they are looking for. They want to see that experience showing that you have that. We've worked on projects on this front end and using these front end and back end technologies. They want to see that on your resume. They also want to be able to have that conversation with you, and you can share that project experience with them during the pre-screening call. And after the pre-screening call, you are moved over to the technical assessment, where you are going to be assessed on 3 technical areas. And then after that, you typically would get to meet with the hiring team within the organization. You have those conversations, technical conversations, and then you have culture conversations with the CTO and the CEO. And all of this process typically take between 3 to 4 weeks. Let's peg it at a month. James, thank you very much. I was wondering, James, I think we lost you. Team, James has shared this information with us. I was wondering, what questions do you have? Put it on the chat so that we can be able to share it with James and he can respond. Questions? The raw. Just put it on the chat. Broadcast it for James. He talked about the fact that there is a lot of rain and storm on his end, so he might be disconnected briefly, but he'll be coming back online. Any questions that you may have about the interview? Please drop in the chat. Welcome back, James. You're on mute, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. Due to the heavy rains happening, power can go up anytime, so that may cut me out. But I'll use my phone for the sake of that information.
Sure. So Taiwo asked, how big is the company? The team. What does it look like?
Thank you, Taiwo. I've seen your question several times, and that's good. So I'll give the team currently they are around 30, and they are distributed across Kenya. I think Kenya has the highest number of team. Then we have a few of the other team in UK, and a few consultants across Europe, per se. and a few in USA. So it's not very big. I wouldn't say it's very big, but for the tech team, we are looking around around 6 to 10 engineers there. Any other question? Did you get to hear me? I think you're on mute. I'm not sure. Can't you? Okay.
Yes, we did. Let's see the other questions. Let's see. So Lumode asked another question. So Olumide asking, is there a feedback process for each stage chosen or not?
Yes, there are feedback session. I'll try best to give even feedback based interviews, rather than having you wait for long before getting feedback. I kind of like give feedback anytime. So feedback will be given on each process, making going ahead or you're being let go. So yeah, that one will be shared.
Beautiful. Thank you. Okay. Let me see the other questions to go. I think Taiwo is asking a question, but I'm guessing Taiwo's questions, like the biggest priority for the company, those will be answered, of course, by the CTO and the CEO during their interview. All right. Any other questions?
Sorry, I lost you for a minute. Yeah.
Okay. Are there any opportunities for those new in?
Yeah. Well, as a recruiter, I wouldn't say we could miss opportunities anytime. There comes opportunities, especially for those coming in tech. But particularly speaking of this position, I wouldn't say I have an opportunity for beginners or really junior members at the moment. But always encourage guys to check on Fuzu platform. We always have global type opportunities that can expose you and give you those type of chances to develop yourself, of course, and find jobs across more in Africa and maybe outside Africa. Yes.
Amazing, thank you. And then there's another question from Michael.
The stages for recruitment, I would say they're kind of like four. I would say four. There's a recruiter stage which involves technical testing. I'll try to combine that as one. Then there's a hiring manager or CTO interview. That's one. CPO and head of data, that's two. And final conversation with the CEO. So probably making it, including my interviewing. Four.
Thank you.
Okay. What specific skills and qualification are you looking for in full stack engineers for the position you are recruiting for? That's John Genio. I think I pronounced your name right. So yeah, we started with this, and probably you joined us late. So there are two types of skill sets. Of course, there's the technical experience, and there's also technical stack experience, and there's also the actual related experience, like or type of projects you work for. But one of the very skills I'm working for, I'm looking for an independent contributor, kind of senior developer, who also has the potential to lead a team, because we're looking at the growth that's coming with the opportunity. So specifically, I'm looking for someone who's led a team probably, or build products from scratch, of course, push it to production, That's some of the experience we're looking at. I talked about 5+ years of experience, generally with a combined experience in full stack development. Stacks we're looking at Node.js and React.js. That's both for front end, back end, and I would say those are some of the skills I'm looking at. Someone who is able to write and to review their own code, of course, but in collaboration with the team right now that they're growing, of course, you're able to review others' codes and, as and probably has previously reviewed other person's code. I'll be happy to share the JD here, or Michelle will share the link to the JD that is posted on the LinkedIn, but maybe to go through a few technical competencies that we're looking at is experience in JavaScript, including concepts like asynchronous programming, TypeScript, and yeah, that's some part of what we're looking at. Of course, strongly experienced in Node.js, then we're also looking for someone who's experienced databases, mostly, both relational and non-relational. I'm also looking at a strong focus or experience with latest testing tools, experience in cloud platform, AWS web services, good understanding of design and implementation of serverless architecture, then building high performance and scalable applications, experience in building and maintaining both back end aspects of the CI/CD pipelines, and a working knowledge of application security, authentication related, and cryptography, and familiarity with performance monitoring tools. Now, these are some of the very important aspects of it. Salary, that's we're looking at 3,500 to around 5,500. I don't know if Russell we have any other question.
Yeah, we do. One of the questions was from Clement there, where he says, "Is there a benchmark requirement of number of years?" I think we've addressed that question already. To 4 to 5 years is what we are looking for, and Clement. And then Abdul asked about, do mid-level developers with 3 years of experience have any chance? 3 years plus of experience, yes, they do. They do have a chance. The key question is, James has been highlighting, Abdul, I'm guessing you came in late, but James has been highlighting that even if they are looking for 5 years, if they see individuals with 3 years or 3+ years or 4 years experience with relevant project experience and skills, they might also consider those individuals for the role as well. James, did I miss out on anything?
Yeah, for sure. But the process may change slightly. For someone who probably find your profile is kind of impressive and you have like 4 years of experience, you're mid-level developer, I may have to give you the test upfront before going to pre-screening call, just for you to handle it, and that would, prove me right that you have the right skill or you have enough experience for that case.
Amazing. Thank you very much, James. You spent a lot of time here. I'm not seeing any new questions coming in. It appears the audience has exhausted all their questions that they may have. Let's see. There are no new questions coming in. James, thank you very much. And guys, if you need where to apply, it's available. A lot of you have already applied for the role. All we just need to do basically will be to take your information, share it with James and his team, so that James and his team can take the next step. Again, the next step would include if your resume meets the requirement with the project that has, meaning your project on your resume, including the link to your GitHub, shows that you have familiarity with the technology in question, backend, Node.js, front end, JavaScript, have very deep familiarity. You can articulate that on your resume. If that is shown, then the recruiting team is going to reach out to you for a phone screen. They get into a conversation with you. After that conversation, the next step would be to move you to the technical assessment where you are going to be assessed on those skills. And then if you pass the technical assessments, then you go straight into meeting with the hiring team on the company side. And again, this role, they are looking to hire between 2 to 3 engineers from Nigeria as part of their expansion strategy. The AI startup, will they have sufficient funding, to scale, which is exactly what they are doing. So that's a good sign, especially in the startup world, for organizations to scale and expand to different regions, within their ecosystem or within their area of operation. So James, thank you very much. Is there anything else you'd like to share with this audience before we let you go?
Well, I wouldn't say there's much, but maybe one thing I always like to take is um, be honest with yourself when you're trying to apply for these tech roles, and always have that confidence, knowing that as well you can do it. And let's always interact on LinkedIn, ask relevant questions even before when you're invited to the interviews. And I believe most recruiters start with like open open platform for candidates to ask questions. So ask those questions, rate yourself, and understand how best you fit in the position before going ahead. But really been great interacting with you. You can check my LinkedIn, it's James Makau, and always you can drop a request to connect, drop question. Always find time to respond. I'm always on LinkedIn, so I wouldn't say I wouldn't know. Maybe a day or two may go without responding, but I'll always find a respond. But again, thank you very much for really speaking up and for your question. Apologies if I didn't really you didn't get to hear me clearly. We gain experiences on training every new disruption with the internet and stuff, and power. Of course, it's never like this as much, but I appreciate you guys. There was a question that I saw it pop up. I'm not sure if I can see it again. Yeah, thanks for that comprehensive response, James. For that you speaking, saying you can do vacancy this similar level of experience, but you know that how to make a selection, what additional activity to consider. Yeah, that's a good question. If I found like three questions, three countries, of course, I said that we're looking to hire 2 to 3. I think I'll be happy to hire 3 of them. But if at all, per se, there are like 5 or so, one of the key things, of course, there are the people skills. This is a startup. We're looking for expressive person. What's your personality? I know most engineers are very backlit, always hiding behind the screen. How are you able, of course, to express yourself when it comes to team interaction, communication, collaborations? Those are some of the things we look at. So the other thing is be like leadership experience. Are you able to do or lead projects end to end? Those are some of the things. Background, industry experience. I know as someone who's worked in very early startups, that's very great experience. They would fit well. We try to look at some of those things. Agility. Those small areas we can look at. But if you're all three and you're great, I'll be happy. That will make my work easy.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, James. We appreciate your time. And if there are no other questions, I think we're going to definitely leave this team. For those of you who actually have applied for the opportunity, you applied on LinkedIn. Those of you who did not apply, I'm going to share the link, to apply. that you can actually have access to it. But again, thank you very much, James, for making out time to have this conversation. All right, then.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies
Thank
and
you, guys.
gentlemen.
Thank you, everyone. And let's interact. Bye.
All right, then. Yeah. Bye bye.